Hi, and welcome to another live demonstration of some of our label production solutions. So today what I'm going to be showing you is one of our most entry-level and simplest label machines for customers who are looking to produce on-demand labels for their in-house applications of labels for their own branding. They could be companies that are basically printing labels for juices, supplements, pharmaceuticals, food products, as well as a whole bunch of stuff. And what we're basically going to be printing on here is water-based inkjet. So I'm really excited to show you one of these really simple machines. It is a machine by a company and manufacturer known as Quick Label, as you can see over here. We're going to do a quick walkthrough of this machine. I'm going to show you how we set up the file as well as how we can print on it. Right now, this machine has been set up. As you can see, it's a very simple machine. It's been set up with both what's known as an unwinder as well as a rewinder, and this makes it very practical for the purpose of being able to finish labels onto a roll and then either put it in your shipping department so you can have those labels applied in there or ship them to somebody else. It's very easy to use, and I'm going to show you how this goes. So come on. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to quickly show you these labels, and here there's a sample of a label, and we're going to show you 3 different label types that we're going to work on and so forth. Okay, so this is what we've got. To begin with, I'm just going to show you that this label printer can print up to 8.43 inches wide, and in this particular case today we're printing on a roll that is 8 inches wide. All right, so to set this up, it's pretty straightforward. You put your roll into this unwinder unit, you wind it through this dancer bar, put it through here, it'll automatically take it through, and if you basically would come to the front of the printer, you'll notice that there is like 4 buttons, very simple. This button is literally to move it forward, if you can see that. This button is to move it backwards. This button is to literally to fast forward it, and this is to sheet cut it. And this is the on-off button. That's it, that's all you got. So pretty straightforward. If I wanted to trim that off and take it off, I would just hit the sheet button and then I'm done, okay? So the rest of it is literally controlled from over here. So over here, because we are printing on, in this particular case today, 8 inches wide, I'm going to take this as the width and this potentially is the length. All right, in this particular design that we have here, you've got, well, in this case it's going to be slightly bigger than 8 inches, but I'm going to show you how we will change that down. And this here is 12 inches, all right? And in this case, we're printing on what's known as continuous paper, meaning that it's paper that has not been pre-cut. Okay, so for the purpose of sending just a job to show you how easy it is, this is an 8-inch by 8-inch page. I'll just go File, I'll click on Print, and in this situation here, you'll notice this window come up. I have a bunch of different printers here, but in this case, I'm choosing the QL-800, and I would go to Setup. In Setup, I'll see that this is the printer I'm printing to. I'm going to hit on Preferences. In this case, it's sending this as a portrait design. I can choose landscape or portrait, depending on what it is that I'm trying to do. And then here, I don't worry about copies. I'm not going to worry about that. You can stitch it if you want to run basically one long print of multiple pages without any gaps in between each page. Here's to buffer it. That means it basically will rip, if you will, this entire job before it sends the entire group of pages to be printed to the output device. And this is if there's any kind of masking in the design to optimize that in the best possible way. Anyways, in this case here, we're choosing gloss paper. There's a few profiles here for gloss synthetic, like BOP or something like that, matte paper and matte synthetic, very straightforward. In this case, I'm going to choose gloss paper. And over here, you've got your sizes. In this case here, I know this document is 8 inches by 8 inches. I chose 8 by 8. But if you happen not to have that size, you simply go into your Manage Labels, you choose inches, and you give this a specific size. So in this case, 8 inches and 8 inches, and I call it 8 by 8 and I hit Save. In this case, it says Delete. If I was to kind of make this 8 by 10, you'll notice that this will change to Replace, and if it is a brand new value, it would basically be the choice to save, okay? So in this case here, I'll just say Replace, it's 8 by 8, and then I'm good. There are 2 choices of speed, 12 inches per second and 6 inches per second. My recommendation for this particular machine, because of the take-up unit, is to run it at 6 inches per second. And say OK. And now we can hit that to print. And you'll see a diagram of this page showing it on an 8-inch by 8-inch size. If it is not on this 8-inch by 8-inch size, then you hit simply Done to accept the values that I selected, and then go to File, hit Print, and now it'll show up, and here you can choose the number of copies. So in this case, if I wanted 5 copies, I literally hit Print, and you will notice that the machine will start preparing itself, bring the media that is on a take-up to the start point, and you'll start printing your job. And we're going to get 5 pages of these labels, and this is the take-up unit to take it up. That's about as simple as it gets. Now if I wanted to cut that off, I'd hit the scissors button over here, and that would cut that off, and I would be done. The machine's very simple. I'm going to show you inside what's in there, just so you know. In here, there is a single memjet printhead, which is an amazing printhead. It's 70,400 nozzles. It's using water-based inkjet, and those cartridges, the inks, are supplied in this particular machine in a 250 milliliter container. There are 4 of them, C, M, Y, and K, and this basically is your cartridge. Very simple to replace when it is done, and that's it. When it is complete, it'll basically show you a status of how much ink is in there. As well, there is a little maintenance cartridge here, which also needs to be replaced every so often. You'll notice that there's some ink in here, but not all of it has been used. Almost a quarter of it has been used, and it's quite simple to replace. It's about as difficult. So you've got the head, you've got the inks, and you've got this maintenance cartridge. And I'll show you how you would know what's going on with that. So if you go over there under File, and you go to Print, and you basically would go to Setup, and Preferences, you'll notice that there are 4 little menus here. One was the one related to the size, the speed, and so forth. The next is to the media. In media, you have a choice of the type of media that is being printed. If it is media that has a gap on it, meaning pre-cut labels with a small gap, you must turn this value to on. If it's reflective, meaning it's like a shimmery type material, like a silver or gold, you must hit reflective. In our case, we're printing on continuous paper, so it's none. And then also if there's a hole in the material or some kind of notching in the material, you choose this. So for example, if I wanted to do gap, I'll show you a sample of a gap material. It's over here. It'll look somewhat like this. So if you had pre-cut material, and this is approximately like a 4-inch by 4-inch label, you'll notice there is a gap between the first and the second label, in which case you would choose gap over there, and then the machine will be able to identify the start point of the label and the end point of the label, and you'd have to design a label that fits in this specific space. Okay, so you'd probably have to produce 1, 2, and then every so often, when it noticed a gap, it'll advance it to the next material. Okay, so that's pretty much how you choose that. So let's get back here. You can make some adjustments to the left, right, center, depending on if you notice it's a little bit off, especially on gap material. And you can choose the number of copies you want to cut before you want to cut the job, if you want to cut it off. But just remember, if you want to take it up on a take-up on the unwinder, if you happen to have one, then you'd not want to cut the web. And then in services, you can see this is where you would do your cleaning. You have a choice for light and heavy as well. You can see what it is that the machine is doing. Okay, so here is what is known as a status monitor. And the status monitor basically tells you how much ink is in the machine, as well what is the maintenance cartridge life. If you noticed, I'd shown you the maintenance cartridge, and it looked like there was about 25% of it was consumed. Eventually, when this is all done, you have to replace it. It'll also tell you what the status of the machine is. In this case, it is idle. All right, and that's it. So very simple and straightforward. If you want to perform any cleaning, you would hit the light cleaning for the most part, and then for some reason, if you needed any additional cleaning, you would use heavy cleaning. And that is really some of the control features for this machine. If you want to order supplies from Quick Label, you can hit order supplies, as well as get support if necessary, or you can call us here at All Graphic Supplies as well. All right, so that's it. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to quickly show you, just as an example, how you change the page size, and we'll print one more thing, and we will then be done with this presentation. So just as an example, we ran this one job here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change it to actually this one here, which is some ice cream labels. There's 6 of them on a page, and you'll notice that if I go in the document setup here and I go to edit artboards, I've got a page size that is 12 inches long by 8.5 inches high, if you want to call it that. This was designed for another printer, but for this printer and this material, for it to work, I have to change this to 8. And if I do that, you'll notice that this page will become a little narrower. If I needed to, I may have kind of had to move these labels so that they fit in this space, but I'm just going to leave it like this for the purpose of this demonstration. Okay, and then I'm going to go File, I'm going to go Print. Just as I'd shown you before, I'm going to choose this machine, sorry, the QL-800. I go to Setup, I'm going to go to Preferences. In this case, it's a landscape. It's on gloss paper. If you remember, you have to create a page size. This is saying 12 by 8.5. That's not the one that I want. It has to be 12 by 8. So I go to Manage Labels. The maximum width that this machine will accept is 8.43, but in this case, I'm using 8-inch. And actually, sorry, I'm just going to go back to that, 8 inches, and the length is 12 inches. So at this point, I will choose a page size called 12 by 8, all right, in this case here. And why does this thing say delete? Let's go ahead and delete this. We'll give it a new name called 12x8, sorry, this is 8. 12, why am I not typing this one? 12x8, and I hit save. So once that's done, I'm ready to print. Okay, so it says 12 by 8. Again, the print speed is 6 inches per second. That's what I recommend for using this machine, and everything is good. I say okay, hit print. Before you start printing, always hit done just to make sure those changes have taken effect. Go back to print, and now you should see that this has changed to 8 by 12, all right? And once you're happy with that, at this point you can choose the number of quantity. So let's just say I wanted 7 copies, and I hit print. Come here and show the quality after that. Okay, so that is 7 pages. I want you to zoom in over here and just look at the quality of this. It's amazing quality. And this is food grade inks. It's very high quality, and you can produce your labels very, very quickly. All right, so that basically is a quick demonstration of the QL-800. Today the new model is called the QL-850. They're both quite similar in terms of their setup and layout. And as I said, it's an excellent piece of equipment to have in your facility to print out your own labels. Thank you very much.